Hi, welcome to Midwest Magic Cleaning. My name is Post 11, no relation. Today we'll be working on what's known in the cleaning underworld as a turnaround house or a turnaround cleanup. That's when the occupant moves out of a place and then they bring someone like me in to just go clean crazy on it from top to bottom and basically detail it like a car. And it's in preparation of re-renting or selling the place. So the first thing that I do when doing a turnaround cleaning is the minute I walk in the door, I go straight to the bathroom and put a lot of toilet cleaner in the toilet. Then I go to the oven and I douse that down with oven cleaner, both the oven and the stovetop, because I've never seen a turnaround cleaning that didn't have burn-on food inside the oven and on the burners themselves. Now, the reason I do that first is because we're going to let that sit for as long as humanly possible. These are going to be two of the last things that we clean in the house because we want those chemicals to react for a really long time. Then I'm going to jump over to the fridge, and there's kind of a housekeeper's rule about fridges. You never want to open them up until you're absolutely ready, because most of the time in a turnaround, the fridges have been setting for a while and they smell absolutely horrible. They smell like death. This one, however, hasn't set that long and it really wasn't dirty at all. I mean, it was nothing to write home about as far as filth. I mean, I would not sit down with pen and paper and be like, "Dear Mom, I cleaned a mediocre refrigerator today. Also, you died in 2017. Love, Post 11." So all we're going to do is throw away literally everything in the fridge. There's nothing worth keeping here. The person who lived here is already gone. It's not like they're going to come back and say, "You threw away my Miracle Whip." Then I'm going to spray this down with Mr. Clean's Clean Freak and just wipe everything out. Now, you could go a different direction with this. You could go with just like Dawn dish soap and water, but I wanted to clean this quick. And dish soap and water works just fine for a refrigerator, but I needed something that could cut through stuff really fast because I didn't want to allow time for the chemical to sit there and dissolve food. I needed to get it done and move on, because otherwise there's so much to do in a turnaround cleaning that even a small place like this one, which is only one bedroom, and it's like 400 square feet, something like that. It's really tiny. But even that can take many, many hours because you're doing so much inside and outside cleaning of cabinets. And just if it exists, it gets cleaned in a turnaround. Now, I only ran into one problem in the fridge. There was one drawer that looked like it had, I don't even know, like butterscotch or something in it. I licked it to be sure, and it tasted like butterscotch. But it took a lot to get out because it had solidified and kind of crystallized. And normally, I would just punch that out or just flex and it would shoot off like a geyser. But in this case, I didn't want to break any of the parts of the fridge, so I just used a scouring pad and a little bit of dish soap, let it soak, and then just scrubbed it like it stole something. This was actually so clean I almost didn't show it on video, but then I realized I hardly ever show refrigerators being clean, and the shininess after I was done with it was impressive enough to where I was like, we'll give them a little refrigerator treat, baby. They've been hankering for a hunk of fridge, and I think I'm about to serve them a cold cold doesn't steam. I'm not good at metaphors. Now, Jason did a really, really good job on the filth. I'm sorry, I can't do it. He's filth. He is exactly one filth, and I'm not standing for it. I'm not going to tolerate it. But regardless of his filthositude, he did a pretty good job. I wanted to be hands-off on this part of it because I don't think Jason has done much organizing before, and I told him I wanted all this stuff to be symmetrical. So I had him take everything out, clean the cabinets inside and out, and then put everything back as orderly as he could. And I thought he did a pretty good job here. And now as far as turnarounds go, that's pretty much what we're going to be doing with this whole kitchen. Taking everything out of the cabinets, washing the cabinets inside and out. I'm just using Mr. Clean's Clean Freak. We could have taken it one step further and used our APC. For our new people, APC stands for All-Purpose Cleaner, and I use it as a shiner and a sanitizer. The sanitizing version is basically just 70% isopropyl alcohol and like 5 or 6 drops of Dawn dish soap in a spray bottle. You can dilute that even more if you're using it just to shine things up, in which case I'll use like maybe 30% of the bottle will be alcohol and the rest is all water and the same amount of Dawn dish soap. Eagle-eyed people may have noticed when Jason was doing that cabinet above the fridge that he missed the back and the sides of the cabinet on the interior. We actually caught that right after he had closed the cabinet doors and I'd shut off the camera, and then he reopened them and got him, which is good because if he hadn't, I'd have dropped him like a bad habit. I'd have given him a DDT right there on that kitchen floor. And then it would be figure 4 time, baby. He'd be going to town. He'd be taking a ride on the figure 4 train. Woo woo! Now notice when I'm wiping down the cabinets, I'm skipping right over the stove, and that's because there's still oven cleaner on it, and I want that to continue setting. I think we eventually let that set for about 3 or 4 hours before we touched it. That's my daughter, Adrian, and she is a straight-up thug. It's really difficult to work with her because she likes to punch and kick, kind of like I do, but she doesn't know her own ferocity. But I understand that she can't help it because she got to live that thug life, son. I told her to put some of that thug energy into cleaning these cabinets inside and out. Now, I was trying to get the camera actually in there so you could see what she was doing, but honestly, there was nothing to really film. It was fairly empty. There were some cleaning supplies in there, and there was a little bit of spilled soap. So all she's doing is just wiping it out and then putting the stuff back in. While we're watching me basically just wipe out a pantry and nothing else. If you didn't know, we have t-shirts, mugs, stickers, all kinds of stuff on sale. We go through TeePublic and we have everything from, it's pretty much all of our little dumb catchphrases we use here, like, oh, hey, look, more dishes. And then bagging on Jason by making a shirt out of his big old giant face head that says filth underneath it. And then for those of you big babies who can't stand me calling Jason filth, we do have a Team Jason t-shirt. If you want to be a fellow filth like he is, and he is, then you can get yourself a Team Jason t-shirt to show your support. I can't personally support it. I don't tolerate it. Now, there wasn't like any dishes or anything to speak of here, but I wanted Jason to wash off the burners because they were covered in like a thin layer of grease. And then the oven racks had a little bit of grease and burn on food. And I didn't like, there's a method of cleaning those that's pretty easy. You just put ammonia into a plastic bag and then put the oven racks in there with it and tie it off, and you just let it set overnight. The problem is we didn't have overnight. We had just a few hours to knock this out. Now, like all of my other videos on this channel, this one was done for free. However, you'll be happy to know that she did actually pay Adrian and Jason. I don't personally take money for these. If I'm filming, to me it just feels weird to take money knowing that I'm going to get paid on YouTube. And kind of the whole deal with this is to help people out. And I feel like charging for that kind of takes away from the goodwill aspect of what I do. So she insisted on paying us something, and I turned it down, but told her if she would like to tip Adrian and Jason, I would be fine with them taking the money. So, which I thought was pretty cool because this is such a small apartment. The sink is done on a 3-step method, which I do to all sinks. It is barkeeper's friend first, and then we scrub the whole thing with a scratch pad or a scouring pad. Then we follow that up by rinsing out the powder and then washing where the residue would be, like the whole sink is going to be covered in like a powdered donut type of film. So we wash that with Mr. Clean's Clean Freak, and then we do one last pass with our APC, and that is what makes the whole thing shine. We just wipe it down with a microfiber towel, and then we dry it with an ultra fine microfiber. And that ultra fine is kind of a miracle rag. As soon as we get the chance, I'm actually going to start selling those very, very soon. I just have to order them and figure out how to sell them without getting in trouble with the law, because I've got to have like a retail license and all that, and I've got to make sure I can legally sell these things without getting into like tax trouble. But as soon as I get that all worked out, we're going to start selling the ultra fines, and then I'll add in the regular microfiber, and then we'll start adding in all kinds of stuff that I use on these videos. So hopefully I'll be able to sell Clean Freak and Barkeeper's Friend and Jason. We just got to figure out how to ship him. Those were the easiest little cover things that I've ever cleaned because they had a brand new set of them in the pantry. So 3 of those fit, 1 of them did not. So what I did was used 3 of the new ones, and then I cleaned the best looking one that I had originally taken off of there that I covered in oven cleaner. I just scrubbed it like crazy, and fortunately it cleaned up to where it shined and matched the other ones. If you're wondering why I'm vacuuming a bed, it's because this guy laid in bed and ate. I'm assuming that he ate nothing but crumbs, just big handfuls of crumbs. Like he would go to the store and buy a box of crumbs, and that's what he'd have for dinner. So the owner of the apartment asked us to vacuum in between the mattresses and around the headboard, and it was necessary. You'll see here in just a bit, I'll pull out a sofa bed, like a hide-a-bed, and that thing is absolutely covered in crumbs, both inside the bed and underneath the couch. Now I'm going to be picturing that dude eating crumbs all night and giggling to myself, thinking of his friend inviting him over and saying, "Hey man, you want to come over for dinner?" "I don't know, what are you guys having?" "We're having crumbs." "Count me in." "Man, you should stop by later. We're having crumbs." "Really? Is it somebody's birthday?" Every piece of woodwork in this apartment got liquid gold. And one of the reasons I did that is because it's all wooden furniture and it's very well taken care of. And there are actually a lot of antiques in this apartment. If I'm ever doing a piece of wooden furniture that looks like it has not been oiled before and has not been polished, I won't ever put liquid gold on it. But if it looks like it's been taken care of like these have, then I'll go ahead and use it because it makes everything glow. One thing we didn't do was windows in this house. I just quite frankly ran out of time. Now, Jason's going to knock out the bathroom. I told him not to worry about doing a crazy clean on the shower because, as you can see here, the only thing that's really dirty in the shower is the shower doors. The shower itself has no real dirt, no real soap film or anything like that on it. So I had him use APC and spot clean that just to sanitize the inside of it. The doors themselves, we used just straight APC in order to shine those up. I mean, it has the added benefit of sanitizing, but these doors are such a pain to clean. APC is really about the only thing that we've ever found that can get them clean. If it has lime scale on it, you can use Lime Away or CLR or vinegar. Let it make contact with all the lime scale. Then use a razor scraper to get the lime scale off, and then you can follow it up with APC. But I hate glass shower doors because in my area of the country, we have very hard water, and there's no one I know that can keep those things clean. He did miss 2 little spots of soap film on the doors, but I ended up going back and getting those myself. I just grabbed him by his head and just rubbed that soap off with his face and said, "You see that? Do you see that?" I like what he's doing with this toilet here. He sprayed the entire thing on the whole inside and out with APC because he knows he has to get down on his hands and knees to clean around a lot of this. And spraying it down with APC kills off any germs before he gets into wiping it down. So basically, he just turns the nasty stuff into dirt that doesn't have a bunch of living, gross, disgusting oddities living in it. Now we're on to the living room, and we're actually kind of winding down. You can see all that stuff on the floor there. That's not just regular dirt. That's all crumbs. That's actually why I was making so many dumb crumb jokes earlier. This room is small enough to where we had to do it in sections because there was nowhere to like move the couch totally out of the way. So we'd have to move a handful of things, sweep and bona the floor, then move everything back and move on to the next section. It's kind of a pain, but I mean, it's worth it. If you're going to be deep cleaning a house like this, you need to get all the surfaces. My daughter with the broom there. She was starting to do to me what I was doing with Jason, and then I turned around and she said, I got scared and ran away. So I pulled off the cushions, and that part wasn't terrible. I mean, I did vacuum up a bunch of food, but you can see the collection of dust and nasty stuff along the end of that. And fortunately, hide-a-beds fold up really well, so we could open it up but leave the mattress folded and then vacuum all around it and the base of the bed, then unfold the mattress and vacuum the top of it. That's not something I do in a normal clean, but I mean, she warned me that all that food and stuff was there, and that's a pretty good way to get mice to come into a house when it's not occupied. There's no human in there to scare them away, so they come in and eat the crumbs, and eat well they would have. Now that we got everything moved back, I'm just going to sweep the rest of this floor, and then we can move on to mopping it. I'm also going to use some leather conditioner on both of those little footstool looking things. I mean, I didn't have to, but it looks really good. It glosses everything up. And that's how I roll, son. They call me Footstool Glossin' Johnny back in Cambridge. Yo, man, is that old Footstool Glossin' Johnny? I don't know. I got a footstool right here. Let's see if he can make it shine. You can't really tell on camera, but that thing was absolutely covered in dust. It also had a bunch of stuff on top that looked like a shaved candle. I got that off before I started using the wood polish, but I went over the whole thing with liquid gold both inside and out, and it made a huge, huge difference. For those who don't know, I have a members only section. Every Wednesday I give an extra video to the members only, as well as making additional posts, posting pictures, just kind of updates that I don't really put out in public. It's more of a vlog style thing. Occasionally I put full-blown cleaning videos on there, but it's mostly just me and the guys goofing around, being weird. And if you'd ever wondered if I had like a Patreon or anything like that, I don't. The membership is just a way for me to use YouTube's additional monetization to do what Patreon would normally do. I just don't like Patreon. I don't want to use it. But if you can't afford it, please, please, please don't become a member. But it's like $4.99 a month. You get a few extras. It's a good way to support the channel and helps me do things like buy extra supplies for the cleanups. I also pay anybody who helps me. So both Jason and Adrian will get extra money for doing this job. I pay for all the chemicals, the travel, and the medical bills after I spin kick Jason right in the neck. But yeah, anyway, if you were ever interested in becoming a member, I'll link the join button down in the description because it's actually kind of hard to find for Apple users, for iOS users. I'll also link the merch store in the description because we don't just sell t-shirts there. We sell coffee mugs and all kinds of stuff. Members, I will see you next Wednesday. Everybody else, I will see you on Saturday. Unless I decide to put this up early, in which case I'll see you the next Saturday. I don't even know, son. I'm crazy. I don't keep schedules. Call me No Schedule Johnny. Back in Toledo. Anyway, see you on the next video. Later.